Aaron, you've got your question.
How's the new forum coming along?
How's the new forum coming along?
This is
It's
short.
good, man. I actually took some screenshots of an import from Sunday so that people would believe that it exists. Oh, which part now? So it does exist. That was a forum, that's Windows 10 forum listing.
It's the dark mode.
Yeah, there's going to be a dark mode. Because I like the dark mode too. And that's some threads.
That's just so I can turn it off.
This is how the What's New page looks, but that's customizable, so you can put filters on. So say you were interested in Windows 10 threads, you can create your own stream up where you only have threads that come from like Windows forums or that, and then you can use an RSS to pull that. So you can, if you only like Windows or enterprise software or cloud things or MIS, you can just create a stream basically for that, and only those threads will show up in there, and you can pull it in with an RSS. But I thought I'd better have some screenshots of it before, otherwise people won't believe it. I did give the company a little jip anyway, trying to get them to go and get it sorted, fix bugs. So.
When's it going to be gone for? Summer holidays, do you reckon?
I'm hoping by the end of some holidays, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. So it is going better now. They've fixed most of the problems with it. There's just a couple left. All those likely lot in the back there. I warned them about heckling, like so.
Yeah.
There's a question from Abid. How's your hand?
It works. It's working. It's mostly healed. If everyone didn't know, I moved in October, and when I was moving my treadmill, which I mean it works brilliantly. Can't you see the treadmill? It was on its side, and we had the legs. It's got a compressor underneath it to try and make it easy to lift up the tracks. When it was on its side, the latch collapsed on it, and my finger was in the joint, and it crushed my finger. So, and of course, the treadmill was the first thing we moved out of the flats. I couldn't move anything from that point on. I was calling in every single friend. I gave out a lot of beer for that, like to get it done. And it turned out my finger was fractured. I mean, I'm thinking it was all the milk I drank, because the picture actually of this X-ray shows it bent. It's like a V fracture, and if the bone had gone, it would slice my finger off. But it was so weird trying to click, like not being able to click with my finger and having to use my middle finger. And if you're driving along, I was allowed to drive, but because it was just bandaged up, I was sitting with my finger on the steering wheel, and everyone just kept on waving at me. It took me 2 days to realise why everyone was waving at me, because my finger was sticking up as I drove past them. So yeah, that was fun and games, typing and that. I had to learn how to do that again properly. So I'm just a 4-finger typer mostly.
Anything else?
Can we get a Windows 10 channel on the Discord?
Is it that bad? You need that much help, you need a dedicated area. Yeah, I'll get that created later on.
Tony?
In the past, you've had focus sessions with Microsoft and Google and folk like that.
Yes.
Are there going to be any more of those over the coming year? And do you have any particular themes for those?
Focus sessions, yes. The problem we've had in the past 6 months is, as you know, Microsoft, they've had a changeover of whoever is in charge of their publicity and marketing for the education side, and we've now got in contact with them. Our contacts at Google, they both went on maternity and paternity leave, and it wasn't until recently we got back in contact with people who could provide us with this. And yes, we are feelers out there, and there will be more sessions online. Webcasts and webinars, what have you. It will be happening, yes.
Are there any particular themes that you've thought of so far, or?
Not yet, no. It's usually they suggest, well, they ask us and they say, well, we've got an idea to do it for this, and then we'll suggest some other things to go in there with it. But nothing at the moment, but you're free to suggest some. You know, members are free. If you want something doing on the site, you're more than welcome to use the contact us link and fire some ideas at us. And we can put some feelers out there. It's not a problem. Is that it?
There will be a webcast on the new site as well, showing how that works, just in case. Well, the younger generation will be probably okay, but I always think it's Simple Sai who's on the site, because he was one that was very much against change on the site. He didn't like when I went from version to the current site from the old site, because he preferred the old site. So if I can get him happy with the changes, and even though he now has given up in schools, then that'll be a good sign. So, Ellie, you had a question?
Yeah. What do we need to do to get branded EduGeek t-shirts?
Oh, that's something else.
What size are you?
That's a bit personal.
Probably 2XL, XL.
Because somebody has just returned because these are too big for them. They're not one.
There you go. There will be ways to get merch on the site as well with the new site. The other thing we're doing is that we'll have a lot better news. The front page site, the front page system that's currently on the site is an absolute nightmare to use. Half the time, Chris usually sends me an article he's typed up, then I go in and fix all the formatting problems, and then we can actually put it live. But the new one's much cleaner, so it's much easier to use. Also, I want to say thanks to Dalexec for testing the Windows, the iOS mobile app. He was the only person I knew that actually had an iPhone Max. So he was able to fix it, help find the bugs, and fix that finally. That'll be going live in the next week, so. Tony.
You only get one.
You didn't get your chocolate, I suppose we'll let you get a second one.
Shop. I know you just.
There is gonna
Yeah,
be,
yeah, it's going to be shop. It'll all be done at cost, so. All,
Have you got what's going to be on the shop?
Well, we have a lot of templates. It's going to be clothing, obviously, and possibly mugs if we can find a way to get them to people without them breaking. And other bits and pieces. We've not really decided because there's so many gimmicky things you can do that you could probably much rather give away at a show or whatever. So,
I mean, we've been beta testing a lot of the clothing with various mods over the last couple of years. So, this actual polo shirt is really comfy. It's really well made. But we've been testing out a lot. We had a lot of weird clothing made up over the years. The worst one had to be the football shirts Chris got, which basically any kind of decent lighting at all on them made your nipples show through them. They were not the best.
I live in Lancashire. It's dull. You don't have in there. You
I
don't
couldn't
know.
believe it when I handed that. It was basically transparent with any kind of light. I felt like I was someone going to a premiere or that with some cameras. So getting good clothing is actually kind of hard because we didn't want to have the usual £5 terrible T-shirts that just they wash out after 6 months. So.
Yes, I think that's it.
Anything else?
No, good. I'd like to say thank you very much for coming, everyone, and thank you to our sponsors, Wave 9, and our exhibitors for making the event happen. And we'll see you at the next one.